Foxborough Rush coming at you on a Wednesday afternoon. Always great to have you here with us. Annabelle Hasselbeck, Jade McCarthy with you for the next hour here to talk New England Patriots, the 1-1 New England Patriots. 10-0 teams, 10-0-2 teams. So we got both sides of it across the league, and the Patriots are there somewhere in the middle of the mix, sitting there at 1-1 in the AFC East. Of course, it is turn the page day across the National Football League, unless, of course, you're the Miami Dolphins getting ready to play the Buffalo Bills on Thursday Night Football. No rest for the weary, AB.
No, and weary is the right word, man. Talk about a tough lineup. They probably didn't expect the Patriots game to go how it did preseason when they're looking at their schedule ahead and saying, shorter week, take on the Bills. But hey, man, good job to the Patriots for handing them that loss, because it's going to be a very tough test up in Buffalo.
Yeah, no question. I think they actually probably didn't expect week one to go the way it did against the Colts. Like, to me, that was probably a game both Indy and Miami thought that they could go in there and get. And then if you're Miami, obviously it very much went the other way. Not only did you not get it, but you weren't even competitive in the process of losing it. So they find themselves with a tough road ahead for sure, and a tall test up in Buffalo come tomorrow night. Let's talk a little bit about this Patriots team. We should mention, of course, Antonio Gibson. We saw what he did, right, with that big 90-yard return following the other return. It was such a swing in momentum, maybe. We talked about it. But he has been named AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. So kudos to him. Always good to give a little, tip of the cap, especially after a play like that one.
Hey, you get the game ball, and then you get the AFC Special Team Player of the Week. Like, he's feeling real good, right? And I think what's so great about this too is that, especially for the Patriots on a scouting front, is everybody's talking about Travion. Everybody's talking about the season that they hope Rhamondre to have. And then here you have Gibson coming in and just really being the star of the show week 2. So it's awesome.
Yeah, we know that there were a lot of smiles in Foxborough on Monday. One of them coming from a guy who had a big game on the ground, Rhamondre Stevenson. He talked about, and you could just see the glow. I mean, really, you could kind of see the glow on his face. But he talked about the success of the run game down there in Miami.
I think it could mean a lot. Just how relentless we fought throughout the whole game. I watched a lot of the game. I still need to watch a few plays, but I think we fought 4 quarters, and that's all we could ask for.
You guys were much better on the ground yesterday than week 1. What did you see from your vantage point, and what can still be improved in that side of the offense?
I think we ran the ball more yesterday than the first week, but our linemen they were working together. Those double teams were getting to the second level and opening up holes for me, AG, and Trey.
Is that something you lobby for ever? Hey, we need to stick with it here, even if it's not. I think the first few carries of the game, you guys ran it pretty well. And then there was maybe on that second drive, it was a little tougher sledding. Mm-hmm. Are you in anybody's ear, like, hey, look, keep giving it to us, we'll figure it out?
No, I wouldn't say I'm in anybody's ear like that, but no, I think Josh, he's a smart guy. We got smart coaches. I think they know what we need to do, to win games, stay on the field, keep our defense off the field. So I think that's the recipe. So, yep.
One thing I heard Mike Vrabel mention in an interview this morning was that play that you caught apparently was run in practice a couple times in the week leading up to the game, maybe with Travion making the play. And he sort of, I think he used it as an example of you practice a play and maybe it gets you going. What's your perspective or your take of that aspect of it?
My first take is just, like you said, Travion was running it in practice, but, we're all in the same running back room getting the same tips and, reminders and, play calls and things like that. So just being ready for the play call, no matter whose play it technically is. So, yeah, just being ready, and, we practiced it all week. It was successful, and I'm glad it was successful in the game.
Gotta be ready. You never know exactly what play is going to be called and who is going to be called to make the play, right? I mean, that's the reality here. And I think that was brought to light earlier this week. As Vrabel alluded to that, this was a play that, had not been called for Rhamondre as it was in practice, but he was the one who executed on the field in Miami when it counted. AB, I mean, I would anticipate that this run game is going to try to keep things rolling against the Pittsburgh Steelers with them coming to town on Sunday for a 1:00 kick. And obviously this is a Steelers team, they're sitting there 1-1 as well. They got a big win against Aaron Rodgers' former team in the Jets. They put up 34 points in that game. But then, they struggled again last week and they've allowed over 30 points in both games this season. And you look at that run defense in particular, you're talking about low end of the NFL, ranked 29th overall. They've given up an average of 149 yards per game. So I would anticipate that the Patriots are going to look to continue to keep that run game going. One, because it's worked against Pittsburgh, and two, because it worked well for them and their young quarterback this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing those numbers, what the Jets and what the Seahawks were able to do in the run against the Steelers, Patriots are feeling pretty good about their run game. And I think it feels extra good because you didn't have it in week 1, and now you have it in week 2. You saw how well it did, not only just for the gain on the ground, but also for, like you said, your quarterback and helping your offensive line, which both groups that did significantly better in that game. And I think something that really stood out to me from hearing Rhamondre talk was just the trust that they have in their coaches and Josh McDaniels, and knowing that they're going to have a game plan ready to go that they can believe in. And he doesn't have to be, hey, give me the ball, I want it. He doesn't have to be in there talking and saying that he needs it. He knows that they're going to find a way to capitalize on that part of their game.
Yeah, that trust is so significant. I think anyone who's been on a team knows that if you don't have that trust of, the players around you, if you don't have the trust of the people who are making the plays and designing them and calling them, to be executed, you got nothing. So it's really important that trust is established in the early goings here in New England for the Patriots to capitalize and move in the direction that Mike Vrabel wants this team to continue to move. So I do think that run game will be significant. And then for Drake Maye to go out and kind of continue where he left off against Miami, right? We saw him, I don't want to say right a lot of the wrongs that he had in week 1, but he certainly looked like the precise quarterback that we've heard, Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels stress, as opposed to the perfect quarterback that it sounds like Drake Maye sometimes feels like he needs to be, and his coaches don't want him to be. They know practice makes progress. Practice doesn't make perfection. So that's something that I think that they want to continue to see him develop. And, look, the Steelers have given up a lot of points, but we have sat here and talked about what that Miami team looks like right now. So they didn't lay down when the Patriots took the early lead in this game. But to me, it feels like this Steelers team is maybe a notch better in terms of what the Patriots are going to have to do to find a way to win this one on Sunday, AB.
Yeah, I think notch. I'm thinking like full on crank better than the Dolphins. I do think the Steelers are that full on crank. But you're right. Like they were able to, and Drake Maye leading the way, they were able to win in close games. And that's what Vrabel had been talking about, all since he really got to the Patriots. Like games are won in those close moments. And that's what Drake Maye was able to do from the start, right? He came out, was decisive, efficient, had command of the huddle. And like you said, it's going to take time. This is week 1 was the first time that Drake Maye had lined up with all those guys in that exact group for a regular season game. New head coach, new regime, new OC for him. And so I think, you have to expect there to be things that need to be improved on. And what do we see? Week 2, that is what exactly happened. And I think it really does all come back to the way Josh McDaniels called the game, the amount and the power that the run game had, and your offensive line did significantly better at protecting Drake Maye. So he was able to do what he did on Sunday.
Yeah, Will Campbell, as we said, got some flowers on Monday because he really stepped up his game from the way the season started in Week 1. Morgan Moses talked a little bit about his quarterback, Drake Maye.
Man, Drake's a hell of a quarterback, man. Everything that he has asked to do has been done. When you get in the huddle and you got a guy and he's looking and he's calling the plays and you're looking him in his eyes and he's speaking with confidence and enthusiasm, like plays are going to work. You know what I'm saying? And that's who he is, man. He's a leader. He's our quarterback, man. I think he played a hell of a game, man. I think from both sides, all perspectives, special teams, offense and defense, man. It was a hell of a game, man. Complimentary win. We kind of played together, and we just got to, on offense, we got to, obviously keep on going back to the drawing board and figuring out ways to keep the slumps from happening. But, Drake's, man, he did a hell of a job today, man.
Giving him some props, right? And that's what you want to hear. And I think that, to me, it's that, he's poised, he's confident, he's collected in the huddle. Like all of that is so significant, right? Because again, we were just talking about trust, right? You have to have trust in your coaches. You also have to have belief in all the guys around you that they're going to be able to go out there and do what they need to do. And they're going to be able to execute what that, you've all practiced in together. And to hear Morgan Moses, describing his quarterback and Drake Maye with those types of attributes and characteristics is really what jumps out to me. And it's significant, AB.
Yeah, they have a real, genuine respect and trust in Drake Maye. And I mean, you hear Morgan Moses talking about the eye contact. He's like, I'm looking in his eyes and I'm getting fired up. I have confidence in him. And that's an NFL vet saying that, right? This isn't someone who's new to the NFL and they're like, oh yeah, I feel confident in my quarterback. This is a veteran offensive lineman who knows what it takes to win in this league. And I just think that his commentary on that, and even too, a moment that stuck out to me, Drake Maye giving Mike Onwenu the football to Spike after he had scored. And I think that's such a cool moment, and it stands out not only as what you're seeing in the huddle, but you're seeing Drake Maye be like, hey, no, I'm going to deflect the praise in that moment and give it to my offensive lineman because I know how crucial you are to my success in week 2 of your season. Come on, that's awesome. And Mike Onwenu talked about how he had never spiked the ball before and that was the first time he'd done it. So what a cool moment, and just love to hear that. But yeah, I really think that this offensive line genuinely trusts and is excited to have him at quarterback.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to continue to watch his development. I think we all have to remember that patience is part of the process here. But I think we at least got a glimpse, last Sunday as to, what there can be, right? And we heard Vrabel talk about it too, right? It's easier in a sense to go in there and coach hard coming off of a win, because you feel good, right? You have some optimism about you. You feel like you succeeded in getting the check mark for 1 week and for one test, right? You've passed one, now it's on to the next one, but you feel good because you succeeded at the last one, as opposed to, hanging your head a little bit and feeling like you didn't get the job done that you needed to get done. So I think that's significant as well. There's of course some familiar faces in Pittsburgh that haven't been gone for all that long. AB, Jabril Peppers, of course, signed with Pittsburgh, and then Juwan Bentley, according to Adam Schefter, signed with their practice squad yesterday, and he, of course, spent 7 seasons in New England. So this is, this happens around the National Football League. I mean, I feel like everybody likes to make a big deal of, they're trying to get all the secrets, they're trying to get the intel of this team. This happens. It happens more frequently than many would think. But, to sit there and say that Peppers isn't going to walk into New England and want to have an impact for his new team, now that I think, would be an understatement.
Yeah, and emotions were high when he left, right? He talked after on X and gave his opinions about what had happened a little bit, just referring to the scheme. And so, yeah, he didn't get any snaps, I don't think, against the Seahawks last week, but Tomlin is definitely going to want to lean on him just for intel and whatever else. And he's a really good player. Like, this is a player that people in New England were shocked to see leave the Patriots. But clearly, the Steelers believe in him, and because of some injuries, I believe that he might be able to get some snaps in this game. But just thinking about the emotions, coming back to Gillette, where you're a former captain, you're a big name for this team, it's definitely going to be interesting, and all eyes are definitely going to be in watching him if he gets some time in the game.
Yeah, no question. All right. The big question may be as to if the Patriots are going to have a key member of their defense back for the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We will hear from Mike Vrabel on that on the other side of this. We're going to take a quick break right here on Foxborough Rush.
Any update on Christian?
Would expect him to do some stuff today at practice.
Christian is doing stuff at practice today. Does that leave Sunday a possibility for him?
Sure.
He's selling that one hard. Sure.
For sure. You had to wonder, like, what was going through his head when he walked up. He knew he was going to break the news. He knew he was going to tell people, I would expect him to do something at practice. You had to imagine what was going through Vrabel's mind of, how do I want to deliver this news to them today on this fine Wednesday afternoon?
On this fine Wednesday afternoon in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Yeah. And he knew, of course, as soon as he said, yeah, I'd expect him to do some stuff at practice, that the next question was going to be, does that mean he might be out there on Sunday against the Steelers? Like that's obviously what's coming. So we'll see, if in fact Christian Gonzalez will make his return, and, start his first game of the season, or at least take snaps in his first game of the season, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Look, I mean, he has been sorely missed. I think we obviously saw, Tua, like I said, the Dolphins found a way to compete after the Patriots went up, last Sunday. And Tua had some long plays that he connected on. And obviously, the Patriots secondary is a better secondary with Gonzo out there, AB. So he does change things for this team.
Yeah, and you even have to imagine with how well the Patriots are doing in the trenches. They're leading the league with 9 sacks the first 2 games. And last year, the Patriots were last in sacks. You have to imagine that this Patriots defense is feeling real good about how they're doing up front, but then what they're going to be able to do with Gonzo, hopefully back. Maybe we'll see him on Sunday.
Yeah, to be continued, but certainly something that everyone's going to keep an eye on, with the open portion of practice and so on and so forth this week, and see what it looks like and how involved Christian Gonzalez will be moving forward. And I'm sure overall this defense, they came up with the plays when they needed to, but there are certainly some things that they'll continue to work on to try to shore up and, probably want to fix before they have to deal with Aaron Rodgers, who might not be moving as best as he has, in previous stints. He said that himself. He was like, I can still move and I will still move, but I don't quite feel like myself. We'll see what he looks like, with the Steelers come Sunday as well. Let's talk a little bit about another quarterback who we watched for many a game and many a year here in New England, who says, well, I got some more games in my future, maybe just a little bit different than some of the games that he played in his past. Take a listen.
Hi, Tom Brady here. I'm very excited to unretire and come back and play in another incredible flag football game in Riyadh, March 21st, 2026 for Riyadh season. I'm here with my partner and friend, His Excellency.
We are very happy to have you in Riyadh.
And I'm ready for this.
Yes.
Let's go.
For sure.
Let's go.
The classic, let's go, to end it, of course. Look, I mean, This is a big deal to me, right? I mean, I know that this is flag football. It's obviously different than tackle football, but we hear so much from the NFL about, making this a global game. We see the emphasis on overseas games, the opener down in Brazil. There's obviously a number of games in Europe this season. So now for flag and this list of players that doesn't stop. With Tom Brady and Gronk, there's plenty of players on this list, right? I mean, you got CMC, you got Saquon, they're on the list, CeeDee Lamb, Max Crosby, Sauce Gardner, Myles Garrett. Look, there's a number of big names on this list that plan to play in March in this flag game. I think this is a big deal, AB.
It's a big deal because, like you said, anything that the NFL backs, it's going to thrive because they are so powerful. And you have to think the owners are really making this push for flag football as a whole, not just this league in Saudi Arabia, but for like young girls as well. And so the NFL is pushing that. Then, like you said, they're really pushing these global efforts. So we saw even earlier this year. And you have to imagine that if the NFL could just give Tom Brady a gold star, he would win because he's really capitalizing in all of those aspects for them. But yeah, it's definitely for entertainment as well. I don't really see those star-studded names going out and hitting like a full stride right in the game. But I do think that it'll be cool because it's going to be an Olympic sport, right? Coming up, which is just wild to think about. But what a fun way to kind of kick it off. And I definitely think Tom Brady was trying to get people there with that announcement. I'm coming out of retirement for the league. And then he kind of hesitated before he said flag football, but definitely will be interested to see. I don't know how all out those guys will go though.
Yeah. I mean, that's always a question, right? I mean, especially, a lot of the guys on that list are current players, so they're not going to want to go out there and hurt themselves in a flag football game in March. Let's be honest here. They want to be ready to go play the games in the fall and into the winter and hopefully into February that results in a Lombardi trophy. So you never know exactly what you're going to get. But at the same token, they'll want to have fun with it. They'll, rib back and forth and be somewhat of their competitive themselves, I would say, AB. But look, this is just another way that this league is growing, and it is a powerhouse. There is zero way around that, and it's very much everything that the NFL touches seems to turn to gold. And flag football has done much of the same. I mean, it has grown so much. And I think there's a space for it, right? I mean, there's plenty of people who love football that don't want to go out and play tackle football. I mean, I can speak to this as a parent, right? Like there are so many, moms and dads that have said to me, I don't want my kid to play tackle football. I don't want them to be out there putting themselves at that point of risk. But yeah, can they go play flag? Sure. Like I already signed him up. I would love for, Joey or Jane to go play flag football. So it's a different way that the league can grow. And I think that this is a league that is always going to be looking at varied ways for growth.
I played on an all-girls flag football team in middle school in Indianapolis, Indiana. And it was awesome because I would never had the opportunity to play football. And I wasn't going to play it after that, right? And even my sister, Mallory, she loved it. Like she was even more into it than I was. And we killed those guys' teams. We had a star-studded team. We had a girl on our team that was a track star in the area. She would run so fast, her flag would just come off from not even being touched.
That's
okay.
awesome.
So like I have a great flag football experience, but I also would say to your point just about, parents too. My brother Henry grew up in a football house, watched his dad play many years, at quarterback at a position where you get hit. And my parents, made him play flag football for a significant time before he was allowed to play tackle. Like it is a real thing, but you're able to still gain skills and still learn the game through it. So I do think it's an awesome opportunity, especially for girls that do love the sport. and are good at it. I've seen some highlight clips on the TV before of the teams that are out there. There are some ballers out there. So definitely Tom Brady is helping this push for the NFL globally for flag football. I mean, too, he said that he went to these owners before and like, hey, can I have, X player come with me and join this flag football team? And, you list the star-studded names. What's the owner going to say? No. Like, I'm not going to send my guy with that group, right? You got Kevin Hart hosting. Like, this is going to be a very entertaining event. I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. If you need a couple of us to come and help with the coverage, I'm signed up. AB, are you ready to go? Like, let's do it.
It's a long flight, but like, we could do it. We could do it, Jade. We could do it. Maybe they
We're
want me
in.
for my flag football days. I was a center. I wasn't like cool enough to play quarterback or wide receiver. My sister.
Wait, you were the center? Wait. You were the center? We have to pause on that.
We traded off, but like my sister was really good at throwing the football and I was like, okay. So I was the center. So, I got to go out for some passes. You can't just stay. There's no blocking in flag football. So like I had to go out for a pass. But,
yeah, you have to.
If they need me,
you're like the tight end.
I
center turned tight end.
I was
That's
center
what happens.
and tight end. Yeah. I'm past it. I'm okay.
Flag football glory days for Annabelle Hasselbeck right there. I love it. See, like thanks to Tom Brady, we get to share stories like this one. Just get ready. Just get ready for March. Thankfully, there's also a lot of football to talk about between now and then. Yeah. All right. So we will make a couple picks when it comes to the games this weekend. A lot of quarterback question marks when it comes to the, games around the weekend, around the league. Some of them already answered at this point in time. Some teams that are in that state of, okay, I'm glad we signed, quarterback X as our backup because here we go, week 3, and he's in. We'll dive into that with some predictions as we continue right here on your Wednesday. It is Foxborough Rush. Foxborough Rush coming at you on a Wednesday. Patriots are going to wear those throwback unis coming out against Pittsburgh come Sunday afternoon at 1:00. The Pat the Patriot throwbacks, they've been around since 93. If you were wondering, fun fact, New England 7-5 when they rock those unis. So, take from the stat what you will. Probably not much, but it's just a fun one to have to throw out there. But as we said, Christian Gonzalez could be out there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steph Diggs was asked about that. And Andrew Callahan, who covers the team, of course, tweeted saying, beep. That would be amazing, was Steph Diggs' response about Gonzo, being out there at practice today. So just having him back on the practice field, that's going to be impactful for everyone on this team. He's just that type of player. That's what he contributes.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing that initial reaction from Diggs too. Like you heard what Drake Maye was saying when Diggs was getting in the huddle back with them after having his progression to the ACL. He's like, it's more swagger and the even just in the huddle, like it's got an energized vibe. And now you're thinking what that's going to do, really the same thing, probably even more, because this is a guy who's been here on the defensive side. So super exciting. We only got a sure. It was more like a, will he be out there? Sure. Right? Sure. So we don't exactly know, but it's definitely a huge step to see that he will be getting some reps at practice today.
Yeah, no question about it. We won't make our Patriot pick, for 1:00 on Sunday yet. It's only Wednesday. So, we got to see where all, everything kind of shakes out a little bit, when it comes to New England and the Steelers. But let's go around the league and touch on some of the other games. Of course, Thursday night got to start, with the Miami Dolphins, up in Buffalo taking on the Bills. Do I even need to make a pick in this game, AB? I mean, honestly,
you can for entertainment purposes.
I hate to put it that way, but look, Buffalo has won 6 straight against Miami. Did we all see Josh Allen? Boom, busted nose and back out there last weekend. He is fully capable of putting this Bills team on his back and winning games. He also is now at a point as a player where he doesn't feel like the onus is always on him, and he's the person who needs to go out there and do it all the time. And that has made this team better because you've seen other guys step up and contribute and do so much for this team. The Miami defense has allowed 30 points at least in, both of their losses this season. I just don't see them being able to keep up with Buffalo. I am taking the Bills Thursday night, AB.
Yeah, Jade, this would be the biggest upset in the league wide for this season so far. And I think what too sticks out to me is that the Dolphins against the Patriots, that was a game at home that they needed to win. That was a game where they needed to fight and needed to execute and take care of the ball. And that's not what happened, right? And so I think I'm going to take Josh Allen, even with a busted nose, I'm going to take them all day in this game with the Bills. The Dolphins just are not. There's not even a good vibe around their team right now. And so I'd say this is going to be an extremely tough challenge, shorter week. But yeah, gotta go with the Bills for this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the vibe down there in Miami. And I'm very curious,
usually
like
the
what
vibe
kind
in
of
Miami's
showing.
like it's Miami, it's like that song. Who sings that song? I'm blanking on the
Will Smith.
Yes, Will Smith. I love that song. That is like the opposite of what the vibe is in Miami.
Yeah. Yep, it totally is. I'm curious how they're going to show up in this game, and what kind of fight we're going to see from this Miami team. And, it's a chance for them to demonstrate what kind of leadership they have in that locker room, right? How they're going to take it into Buffalo and what they're going to bring. And maybe then we'll have a sense of where this season goes for them, because if they just get pounded by the Bills, it just feels like things could spiral very, very quickly for the Miami Dolphins in 2025. So we shall see. All right, let's turn our attention to some of the other games on tap this weekend. Let's start in the NFC South. It's the 1-1 Falcons taking on the 0-2 Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young obviously had a great showing late last season, really tried to mount a comeback for his team late in the game this past Sunday. He had a career-high 5 touchdowns against the Falcons last season. Is this a team that he can find a way to earn his first win of this season against? I don't know. It's an interesting matchup in the NFC South this weekend, AB.
Yeah, it really is. I think for me, I'm going to go Falcons. Just the Panthers do have some questions about just finishing the game. Falcons defense has done well overall. They're coming off a good win against a good Vikings team that just really didn't show up and really struggled offensively. Shout out to Parker Romo too for the game that he had, and the contrast of what was going on with New England and him, and then the funny moment of him like literally meeting his teammate Leonard Floyd after the game. I thought that was just hilarious. It also just shows you just the insanity of the NFL sometimes and how it just is not a normal workplace, right? Meeting your coworker right after the game. But I'm going to go. Bijan Robinson has been huge for them. So I think I got to go with the Falcons for this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Falcons will find a way to win this one. I think Michael Penix Jr. will get his first divisional win this weekend against the Carolina Panthers. Minnesota, they put up 6 points against Atlanta's defense. And Jade McCarthy, didn't necessarily do them any favors, the Vikings in this game. He's obviously hurt now, out. Dealing with an ankle sprain at this point in time. But I think the Falcons can find a way to win against Carolina and put them in that early hole 0-3 to start the season. Here's a good one for you. The 2-0 Green Bay Packers, who many are raving about because of the way they've won their first 2 games of the season. They have yet to trail in a game. They take on the 0-2 Cleveland Bears. Got a random stat for you here. Green Bay has never dropped a game week 3 with Matt LaFleur as the head coach there. Isn't that
Random
bizarre? Like, just
stat.
like of the
Bizarre.
random stat category.
I really always
Yeah.
wonder, like, who's taking track of this stuff? Who knows these things? I'm like, it's amazing. It's honestly amazing. But yeah, that is a pretty wild stat. But the stat that's not shocking is how everyone is talking about this Packers team, right? And I think really a surprise about how good they have been. They're coming off a great win against the Commanders. I think their defense feels better and looks better than they probably even actually are, just with Micah Parsons and the energy and rejuvenation that they have there. Tucker Kraft has been a bright spot for them. And the Browns, the Browns have been in a rebuilding year since the draft, like since this season early on began. And so Green Bay just looks way too good for them. I think for the Browns, I'm excited to see Carson Schlesinger, a rookie out there on defense, second in tackles for them right now. He played at UCLA with my brother, so excited for him. But really, I got to go with the Packers on this because they're just the way better team and a more of a complete team as well.
Yeah. The Browns they're still trying to figure out the quarterback situation, much like they were when they had a whole host of quarterbacks, coming out of the draft. It is Joe Flacco. Like, we know it's his job right now, but at some point you start to wonder, when may it become Dylan Gabriel's job? We obviously saw him trot out there briefly in the loss last week. So it's Flacco for now, but you do start to wonder how long that lasts, particularly if the Browns can't start to stack some wins together. I, too, will take the Green Bay Packers in this 1:00 game Sunday afternoon. All right, it is the 0-2 Houston Texans taking on the 1-1 Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston only averaging 14 points per game. That is the very bottom of the league. So trying to stack up some points, they're going to have to do it, to contend with Travis Etienne and the way he's been running, and just this Jags team. I will take Jacksonville in this game.
Yeah, I've been really shocked with the Texans so far this season. I thought they were going to, probably like other people, be totally good, win the division, have no problems. Like, nobody really knew that the Colts are going to be the Colts that they are right now. So I think the Texans are due for a win. I think they're feeling that. Nico Collins, I think, is gonna have a breakout game. I think he's ready for that. And this is a big game for both teams. Like, it's going to be a battle. And yeah, the offensive production is definitely an issue and concerning for the Texans. But I think they got to get this win on the road. This is one that they need. And I have faith in CJ Stroud for this one.
Yeah, love CJ Stroud. I think he's a great player, and I think there's great things ahead for him. I just think that offensive line in front of him right now, has its challenges, and that is going to make life difficult for the Houston Texans, at least as it stands right now. We'll see. All right. So 2-0 Cincinnati Bengals and the 1-1 Minnesota Vikings. This is the battle of the backups now, right? Because as I mentioned before, Jade McCarthy is out dealing with that sprained ankle following the Monday night game. Came in Tuesday morning. Sometimes things feel differently when the adrenaline wears off and you get a little sleep, and all of a sudden you go, "Ooh, that doesn't feel so good." And the trainers look at it and go, "That doesn't look so good." So it'll be Carson Wentz getting the start for the Minnesota Vikings. And of course, we all know, Joe Burrow is expected to miss about 3 months, are the early reports at this point in time. So it is Jake Browning for the Bengals once again. So here we go. In the battle of the backups, who do you like, AB?
Yeah, it is. And I feel for these Bengals fans, man. They started the season knowing they had to come out with a hot start, right? They were playing more starters in the preseason because they were trying to get going. They did it. They did it. And then this happens, and Joe Burrow goes down, and it's just so upsetting. And Jamar Chase, he had mentioned, like, right after that game, like, man, it's going to be a roller coaster, like, each week of just emotions too for this team. And so I think my faith goes in Carson Wentz, just his experience with this team. Just being able to get it done, right? As a backup quarterback, you really just need to help your team be able to win. Don't turn the ball over, do the easy things, have a clean game. So I think I got to go with the Vikings for this one. I think the emotional toll on the Bengals is going to really weigh down on them. And this isn't a Bengals defense that has exceeded any expectations yet so far. So I think I'm going to go with the Vikings for this one.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one. I mean, Jake Browning, if you look at his numbers, he was 4-3 as a starter a couple years ago when Burrow was dealing with that wrist injury. So the team does, play pretty well around him, but I don't disagree with you. Like the emotional toll, I think, is a big one, and just knowing that they feel like it's a roller coaster and it's going to continue to be a roller coaster. I also think that Carson Wentz has been in Minnesota for like a hot second. And we've seen him, have some struggles. I mean, you look at where he came in and like he was in the running for, MVP back in Philadelphia before he, wound up getting hurt and then, watch Nick Foles go and win a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. So, but that also seems like so long ago because he really hasn't been able to catch on and have that type of success, again in this league, even as a backup. So I'm very curious to see him in this situation, paired with Kevin O'Connell, who, we all know dubbed the quarterback whisperer for the success that he's had with quarterbacks. I honestly, I feel like this one could go either way. I'll go Vikings just because it's in Minnesota, and I just don't have a feel in terms of who's going to take this one because of all the the change going on with both of these teams as they look to get set for this matchup. All right, let's continue to work our way through the 0-2 New York Jets here taking on the 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, hello, Baker Mayfield, right? Talk about fun to watch. He is so fun to watch. He just balls out all the time. Tyrod Taylor's getting the start for the Jets with Justin Fields, who is in concussion protocol. They announced that today. Taylor has a start and a win for 5 other franchises, so he's going to look to do the same thing and make it 6 for the Jets this weekend. I don't think he's going to be able to get it done. I think the Bucs are going to take this one against the Jets.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think just watching Baker Mayfield last week, come on, like the energy that was in him when he got the first down, he got the full cartwheel over the player, probably should have been hurt, right? And just gets up in the other player's face. I mean, it just shows you who's leading this team. And so I definitely do not want to bet against him in this game. They feel good. He walked up to the podium and just, yes, is what he had said after the game. And I love the content that came out of that. But yeah, I'm going to go with his offensive weapons. Evans and Emeka and Buka having a strong week 1 and week 2. And yeah, I just think this Jets change at quarterback is going to be difficult for them, especially off the game that they're coming off of. So games in Tampa, I'm going to go with the Bucs.
The Jets have given up, 30 plus, in both week 1 and week 2. And Baker just doesn't seem to care who his offensive coordinator is. It's like, oh, I got a new one. Okay, I'm still going to go ball. Tampa Bay, I predict puts the Jets in an 0-3 hole. All right. How about those Colts, right? You called Indy home once upon a time. They're 2-0, of course, taking on the 0-2 Titans. It's all about the Colts these days. They are doing something that I don't think anybody thought Daniel Jones was going to go out there and start the season the way he has. There's obviously a lot of growth happening in Tennessee. Cam Ward with the number 1 overall pick. There's been some bright spots for him. But at this point, like in that matchup, I see no reason to not pick the Colts in this one.
Yeah, I'm also there for Indy. And you know what's funny is that I went to a lot of Colts games growing up, and I was just so shocked at how laid back and chilled the fan base was there in Lucas Oil. It's an amazing stadium. They got like lounges. They got every restaurant known to mankind. It's incredibly clean, but that's why people are just comfortable, just kind of chilling. And let me tell you, I haven't been to a Colts game this year, but I'm telling you, Lucas Oil is not the same that it was years ago. Lucas Oil is on fire. They are jacked up for this team, and Daniel Jones leading the way. Jonathan Taylor is absolutely killing it. I see there's no way that would go against the Colts right now against the Titans.
Yeah, leading rusher in the National Football League, Jonathan Taylor. I am not going against him at this point in time. All right, the 1-1 Raiders taking on the Washington Commanders. Also sitting there with that 500 record. Will it be Jaden Daniels out there? He, of course, is dealing with that knee injury. It was kind of interesting timing because it came in a couple days after their loss last Thursday night to the Green Bay Packers. But Dan Quinn said, one of the first things they talked about, after, losing the NFC Championship game to the Philadelphia Eagles last season was, okay, who do we have? Who are we bringing back? And Marcus Mariota was, at the top of that list, right? So they obviously feel very confident in their backup quarterback should he need to go against the Raiders. And the Raiders are making all kinds of headlines these days, of course, and not just because of Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, but rather because of the minority owner who has already been mentioned, in this space just, maybe 10 minutes ago for his new flag football plan in March. But the one and only Tom Brady, of course, was in the booth the other night for this Raiders game, and there was the report that he, has consistent dialogue with Chip Kelly, and there's been a lot of back and forth on this. The NFL has come out and said, look, we do not believe this is an issue. He's not in team facilities. He is not watching practices. He is not in any of the meetings. He can call into the production meetings for his Fox broadcast, but he has to do it remotely. He can't step foot in the buildings. They don't believe there's a conflict of interest. But if you check out your Twitter feed lately or your X feed, AB, you might believe differently. I mean, this story has certainly been blowing up, over the past day or two.
People are losing their minds, Jade. They're absolutely losing their minds. They're like, man, this dude, we can't stop him from winning. Like he's taking every advantage that he can. And now he's, hoping to help the Raiders. And I think you have to look at it from, yes, it's the optics. How much intel is he really getting? You know that the NFL has some strict guidelines on him having to join remote, not being able to go, watch a full practice, and in the glimpses that he's able to before games. But it definitely looks strange for optics, no doubt. And I can totally see where some of these fans are coming from.
Yeah. This game, again, I think so much, as much as you have Marcus Mariota as the backup there, I think so much just hinges on Jaden Daniels and what he's able to bring, if he can bring, to the table, because he's obviously such a mobile quarterback and such a threat. If he can't go, then you have Marcus. If he can go, how much can he do? How much, designed run will even be a part of it? Will they try to stay away from that altogether? I just think that within this game itself, it's hard to say which way this is going to go when you don't know which quarterback you're preparing for at this point in time. And that's the situation that Max Crosby and the Raiders are in right now.
Yeah, and the Commanders have taken some serious injuries too, right? And one being Austin Eckler. And so I think that's a concern for the Commanders, not only the quarterback position. The Raiders, though, really struggled on Monday night, and Geno really struggled taking care of the ball. So this will be a really interesting game. Interesting to see, too, how Mariota, if he's playing, will handle the Raiders pass rush. But yeah, I think I would hang my hat on the Commanders for this one, and hang my hat on the fact that Jaden Daniels would play. But yeah, that's why you got to lean on the guy that they took so long to get his contract figured out, and Terry McLaurin. Like, you got him for a reason. Hopefully you can lean on him in this big moment when it's kind of a toss-up right now.
Yeah, and I think the hard thing is he did miss, time obviously in the preseason because of that contract. And, if you look at the numbers, like the way in which he and Jaden were connecting last season, they're just off right now. And certainly Debo has benefited from that. But I do think it's going to take a little time for Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry to get back to where they were. We just haven't seen that level of production in the early going. I'll go Washington in this one, with the unknown in terms of what the quarterback is, just because I think of where they are as a team right now versus, where Las Vegas is, in the very early goings, of Pete Carroll's tenure there in Washington. All right, we're going to take a quick break right here on Foxborough Rush. We got much more coming straight ahead. A little bit of, a little bit of what you got to say. Stick around. Mailbag time here on Foxborough Rush. You can always leave your comments or questions, send them on YouTube, social media, and maybe you'll just see yourself pop up right here on Foxborough Rush. Checking in today, and this one comes, this one made me laugh. I have to be honest, AB. I can't wait to see Milton Williams sack Aaron Rodgers. He will need another darkness retreat just to walk right again after that. I giggled. I mean, I got to be honest. I did. Sorry, Aaron. I apologize. But, the Patriots lead the league in sacks. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's unheard of that we'll watch that happen.
It's not far off. And Rodgers even took a beating last week. I think he got sacked 3 times. Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy came at him with the rest of the Seahawks pass rush. But I will say something. The darkness retreat is something I will never do. I will never go on a darkness retreat. I don't even know what that entails, but you won't find me ever doing that.
She wants to be in the light at all times. In the light. See you next time with more Foxborough Rush.